good day to all of you. My name is Hamza, and I'm doing this special show for Sports-TV.Network from the touchlines by Hamza for the first time. And I'm going to touch up on the concluded rugby games last weekend. And the first game was the first President's Trophy quarterfinals was played at Havelock Park between St. Thomas's and Trinity College. Though the supporters of both schools thought the game would go down to the wire, it was Trinity who dominated the entire game. Even though St. Thomas's scored first in the fourth minute, it was Trinity who dominated the entire game through set pieces and also from their backline moves. And it was very impressive to see Shan Altaf back again. And as you know, that he scored a 50-meter try through a back flip pass by the Trinity scrum half, a typical Fazil Marija, Roshan Veeraratne, a typical Kandy style try. And it was amazing to see that Shan Altaf is back in the scoreboard for this season after a great last season after the Trinity 55-meter penalty. Nevertheless, like I said, it was Trinity who won the game 24 points to 15, and they'll be meeting Zahira College in the first semi-final next weekend. And we are moving into the Isipathana College and Wesley College game at Royal Complex on Sunday. Even though a lot was expected by the Double Blues, I think Isipathana College kept the momentum of the game with their typical traditional backline moves. Even though Wesley scored in the 7th minute and they were leading 10-0, Isipathana bounced back before the halftime to make it 10-all. And subsequently, Isipathana ran away with few more tries to make it 24-10 in the final whistle. And on the other game, it was Royal DS at Havelock Park again. And I think a lot of people expected DS or the Dons to step up into this game. But nevertheless, Royal didn't have a good start in the Kingswood game. I mean, they had a lot of heart attacks. Or probably the supporters are quite worried about how Royal will play this season. And I think they played a pretty decent game. The first two tries came on the 13-14 channel. I mean, they ran the corners. And thereafter, DS had a few tries coming up. But nevertheless, it was Royal who played the entire 70 minutes with a lot of force. And I think they have minimized many errors from the Kingswood game. Of course, what we came across was in the Kingswood game that Royal rested a lot of players. From what I hear from the Royal camp was some of their players were sick, and they couldn't train, and some of their players were rested. And of course, the players who came from the bench were the regulars, like the number 15 Pathiran, who had a great game in the DS game. And I suppose that Royal would be meeting Isipathana. That would be the best semi-final for me, because both teams are equal, and it's a rivalry between the both schools, as you know. And if you talk about the upcoming Trinity Zahira fixture, even though Zahira would definitely try to play their hearts out, give everything, give 100% on the field, for me, Trinity would have the edge of that game. And let's see how it goes. And next one is, of course, probably the most historic encounter which Sri Lanka rugby that ever played. As you know, All Blacks toured Sri Lanka in early 1900s, 1907. And it's after 100-odd years that a game of this nature have been played with a touring New Zealand side. I know that there was a New Zealand cold side coming up in the mid-50s. Nevertheless, this particular side, the New Zealand under-85, was touring out of their country for the first time. As you know that it's it's actually categorized as uh, like a traditional. I mean, they're not officially placed as a traditional tier system. They because it's the first time that New Zealand Rugby also trying out this under 85 team, and it's quite nice to see them selecting Sri Lanka as their first official destination of the official game. And on the other hand, Sri Lanka having had three uh, three wins before this game against Kazakhstan, India, and also the last game which came out 2 weeks ago at Racecourse, thrashing Malaysia. And now they are moving to the top tier of the Asian circuit, and they'll be facing UAE, Hong Kong, and of course South Korea. Three tough opponents. UAE has a lot of foreigners under their belt, a lot of South Africans, a lot of Australians, British, and of course Fijians as well. And of course, the Hong Kong team, as we all know, based with many expats from the European sector as well, and then South Korea, which is a tough opponent, which they have been very consistent, I would say, right throughout in the Asian circuit. And Coach Sanath Martis said before the game that he wants to give the widest squad a chance. And even, of course, he mentioned the same in my last interview with him 2 weeks ago, that he wants to try out the widest squad, even though he selected the 25 for the Malaysian team, that he wants to give a chance to the 40 squad, and then he wants to make this probably an opportunity to see how he wants to move forward with the three upcoming games in June. Of course, the people expected a good game because knowing that Sri Lanka fielded some of their heaviest forwards, like Navin Marasinghe, I think he's about 115 kilos, even though New Zealand had all 85, under 85 kilo category. Um, the first quarter was expected because New Zealand was trying to hit the gain line, and I think their line speed and the way they were hitting the gap, or creating these pods, was encouraging because they were under 85. I think their body angles were quite down, parallel to the ground. They were not exposing their body or probably the full body so much, knowing that there are much more heavier forwards and probably the backs in the Sri Lankan team. Nevertheless, I think even though the New Zealand under 85 ran a 50-pointer for 10 points, I think there are a lot of things to be taken to the whiteboard by Coach Martis from this game, because I know for a fact that knowing the background, knowing the caliber of Coach Martis and his entire staff with Dushant Luke and Sali Kumara, they would definitely bring out the best for the Colombo game next Saturday at Racecourse. And even though that Racecourse is supposed to be probably one of the favorite grounds for the Sri Lankan national team, and they have won many games in the seventh circuit, and of course the last three games against the Asian tier two nations. I would say the racecourse game would bring in much more firepower, and I have a feeling that players like Danushka Ranjan and a few other players who were rested in the first round would come into the game, and it's nice to see how these experienced players would turn out and trying their skills with this under 85 national team. And on the other hand, it was a good opportunity, and it was a good starting point for young rugby players who probably came out of school last year and the year before, like people like Isipathana number 8, Daham, Shahid Zumri, Sudesh Jayavikrama. Pasindu Bandara, even the Wesleyite, Hafiz Thabit. You know, I don't think that they would never expect a better first game than a New Zealand under 85 game. Because I know that every schoolboy's dream is to play national rugby one day, and for them to wear that white jersey with the Tuskers logo and facing probably the best team or the best country for rugby in the world in the recent past, New Zealand, with the under 85 team. And of course, you cannot write off an under 85 team just because of their weight category, but it's just that I think they were more lean and more powerful. And if you have seen the way they were attacking, when they were chipping the ball or kicking up and unders, I think the prop is running at the same speed as their back. Probably the third row is faster as they have been three quarters. So this is expected. And even Coach Marty said that in the interview because they want to counterattack this because I know for a fact that Sri Lanka had heavy forwards, but the forwards of over 100 kilos would not be in par with someone like Shahid Zumri or Kavindu Pereira because they're probably the fastest in the field. So nevertheless, excuse me. Nevertheless, this game was a packed house in Nitawala. You can't ask for anything else. Probably the game is played on a Sunday in Nitawala, and you could see probably the whole of Kandy coming and watching the game along with many supporters from Colombo, many schoolboys, and it's a very good opportunity. And kudos to the organizers. And I suppose the Colombo game will also bring in a lot of crowd on Saturday. And so that's it from me. And I like to have my next round of updates on the next weekend after the semifinals and after the Sri Lanka New Zealand under 85 game. And see you all soon and have a great week. Thank you.